Okay, good morning to everyone. Today we'll discuss about payment material. We're going to discuss about payment material. Model number 3, introduction to payment, introduction to payment materials. What's different payment materials such as flexible payment, rigid payment. Okay, what are the different components used for road construction? Okay, we have to discuss one by one. What is the payment? Pavement is the durable surface material laid down on an area intended to sustain vehicular load or foot traffic, such as road or walkway. Pavement is a durable material laid down on an area intended to sustain vehicular load. It should be sustained by vehicle load because different high weightage loads are heavy vehicles when travel on the roads. We have to protect that layer. We have to protect that dumper layer. That is nothing but pavement. Pavement is a durable material laid down on area to sustain the vehicle load or foot traffic, such as road or walkway. In walkway, we are provided pavement materials. In road, also we have to provide some pavement material. It should be sustain the load provided by the vehicle. These are mainly two types of payment materials. One is flexible payment, another one is rigid payment. Flexible payment is bituminous payment or blacktop payment. Rigid payment is cement concrete payment or white surface payment. Flexible payment consists of like our using dampers. Okay, that is called bituminous payment, or it is consists of black color or blacktop payment. Rigid payment is nothing but concrete payment. Recent technology we're using making a lot of concrete roads in the cities. That is nothing but white surface payment. These are the main two types of payments. Flexible payment is normally provided in maximum state highways, national highways, district roads. Rigid payment is normally provided in rural areas and some city areas, some city lanes. Comparison between flexible payment and rigid payment. Flexible payment consists of low flexible strength. The strength is low compared to rigid payment. Load is transferred by grain to grain contact. Load is transferred by step grain to grain contact. Surfacing cannot be laid directly on the subgrade, but a subbase is needed. Surfacing cannot be laid on directly on the subgrade, but a subbase is needed. Okay, next, no thermal stress are induced. There is no thermal stress in flexible payments, and surfacing cannot be laid directly on the subgrade. It consists of subfaces needed. Expansion joints are not needed. Normal design life of that roadway is 10 to 15 years compared to rigid payment. Initial cost construction is low. Initial cost is low, but maintenance cost is high. You have to maintain continuously that road. Road can be used for traffic within 24 hours. Road can be used 24 hours continuously. It is damaged by oils and certain chemicals. It can be damaged by some oils and certain chemicals. Next, rigid pavement. Rigid have more flexible strength. No such phenomena of grain to grain load transfer exists. It is just one layer. Surfacing can be directly laid on the subgrade. Yes, thermal stress are induced. Expansions are needed. Design life is more compared to flexible pavement. It is 20 to 30 years. Initial cost is also high. In flexible pavement, initial cost is low. Less maintenance cost. Maintenance cost is very less here compared to flexible pavement. Road cannot be used until 14 days of curing. It is the main problem. Road cannot be used until the curing process complete after 14 days. No damage by oil and other chemicals because it is a concrete. There is no such damage will be occurred. Okay, but flexible pavement can be damaged oil and chemicals. Maintenance cost is high in flexible pavement. We have to continuously maintain the roads up to 4 to 5 years. But here no maintenance cost, but initial cost is very high. Example of rigid pavement. See, this is the concrete road mainly, and flexible pavement dumper road in normal language. Rigid payment is normally provided in uh, different areas. Okay. This is a diagram of rigid pavement, and this bottom diagram is flexible pavement. This is another diagram. One is flexible pavement, and the diagram is rigid pavement. Next topic is requirement of pavement. What are the requirements of pavement? Sufficient thickness to distribute the wheel load, trusses to save value on the subgrade soil. Okay, sufficient thickness to distribute the wheel load. It should have some sufficient thickness to distribute the vehicle load. Okay, gradually load should be distributed. Structurally strong to withstand all the types of stresses imposed upon it. It should be structurally strong to withstand all the types of stresses imposed upon it. Adequate coefficient friction to prevent skidding of vehicles. Smooth surface to provide comfort to road user even at high speed. Produce least noise from the moving vehicles. It should provide least noise because of vehicles. Smooth surface to be provide comfort of the road users even at high speed. Okay, it should be surface should be smooth. Adequate coefficient friction to prevent the skidding of vehicles. Friction should be provided. Adequate friction is provided. Produce least noise. Dust-proof surface so that traffic safety is not impaired by visibility. Vision should be clear to the driver. That's why dust is not generated by the road surface. Impervious surface so that subgrade soil is well protected. Surface should be impervious. The subgrade soil is well protected. Long design life with low maintenance cost. The design life should be long. Okay, it should be design life should be long because of low maintenance cost. Low distribution of rigid pavement and flexible pavement. Flexible pavement, there are different layers are provided. Example, base is upgrade, but in rigid pavement only one layer is provided. So distribution is different in different pavements. A diagram shows the distribution of pressure by multiple wheel, distribution pressure by single wheel. Example, wheel load, base, sub-base, press distribution, subgrade. Thick structure, thin structure. This is the pavement material. These are the wheel loads, different wheel loads. Base, sub-base, press distribution, subgrade. Okay. Combined stresses from individual wheels. Okay. Distribution of load approximately d by 2. There are some diagrams of the distribution of load. Next, different types of flexible pavement. Conventional layer flexible pavement, full depth asphalt pavement, contained rock asphalt mat, CRAM. First one is conventional. These are the layered systems with high quality expensive materials are placed in the top where stresses are high and low quality cheap materials are placed in lower layers. It contains high quality expensive material placed on the top of the layer where stresses are high. Stress is nothing but load by area, and low quality cheap materials provided in the lower layers. Next, full depth asphalt pavements. Asphalt is provided here, constructed by using bituminous layers directly on the soil subgrade. This is more suitable when there is high tropic and local materials are not available. This road is provided where the high tropic is available, where the vehicles are operation of vehicle is more. Asphalt layer is provided with the help of bituminous layer. Contain rock asphalt mats constructed by placing dense open graded aggregate layers in between two asphalt layers. Contain rock asphalt mats constructed by placing dense or open graded aggregate layers in between two asphalt layers. Okay, it consists of rock of asphalt layers. Next, surface course, base course, sub-base. These are the typical cross-sectional flexible pavement. Consists of three layers. One is surface course, top of the layer. Base course, it is middle of the layer. Sub-base, usually treated as subgrade. Okay, these are different joints, longitudinal joints, concrete slab, transverse joint, subgrade, sub-base course, base course. Base course is non-erosive. Okay, rigid pavement consists of concrete slab. Flexible pavement consists of surface course, sub-base course. These are the main difference between two pavement layers. Thickness of layers, cross section, load is transferred by grain to grain contact. This is the grain to grain contact. Grain to grain contact means different granular structure of aggregates are provided. Next, seal coat surface course is 25 to 50 mm thickness. Next, binder course 50 to 100 mm. Base course 100 to 300 mm. Sub base course 100 to 300 mm. Compactor subgrade 150 to 300 mm. Typical layers of flexible pavement: seal coat, tack coat, prime coat. Okay, these are the different layers. Seal coat is a thin surface treatment used to waterproof the surface and to provide skid resistance and seal the surfacing against ingress of water. Seal coat is a thin surface treatment used to waterproof the surface and to provide the skid resistance and the seal surfacing against the ingress of water. It should be waterproof because rainwater can't be stand on the surface of the road, otherwise it will be damage the surface. Next, tack coat is very light application of asphalt. Usually asphalt emulsion diluted with water. It provides proper bonding between two layers of binder course. It is generally applied on impervious surface. It is very light application of asphalt. Usually asphalt emulsion diluted with water. It provides proper binding between two layers of binder course. It is generally applied on impervious surface. Prime coat, it is application of low viscous liquid bituminous material or an existing porous surface like WM. WM is Westergaard binding material. Prime objective is to plug the capillary whites of the porous surface and bond the loose materials on the existing surface. Like granular basis on which binder layer is placed, it provides bonding between two layers. The prime coat, tack coat, seal coat, these are the typical layers. Prime coat. First diagram is prime coat, next diagram is seal coat. Prime coat consists of very thick layer, seal coat is very thin layer. Because seal coat is very thin surface because it is used in top surface of the layer. Prime coat is application of low viscous liquid bitumens over existing porous or absorbents like WM. It should be a work objective of primer coat is it avoid the capillary whites of porous surface and bond the loose material on the existing surfaces. That's why it is provided. Next, surface course. It is a layer directly in contact with tropic loads and generally contains superior quality materials. They are usually constructed with dense graded asphalt concrete. Okay, it is the top of the layer. It is directly contact with different vehicle loads. It contains superior quality materials and they are usually constructed with dense graded asphalt concrete. It provides characteristics such as frictional, smoothness, drainage, etc. Also, it will prevent the entrance of excessive quantities of surface water into the underlying base, subgrade. It provides a smooth and skid resistant riding surface. It must be waterproof to protect the entire base and subgrade from the weakening effect of water. Surface course is the layer directly in contact with surface loads and generally contains superior quality materials. They are usually constructed with the dense graded asphalt concrete. Okay, it provides characteristics such as friction, smoothness, drainage, etc. It provides friction against the different vehicle loads, smoothness to the movement of traffic, drainage is provided. Okay, it will go easy drainage. It will prevent the entrance of excessive quantities of surface water into underlying base, subbase, and subgrade. It provides smooth and skid resistant sliding surface. It should be waterproof to protect the entire bottom layers. Next, binder course. This layer provides the bulk of the asphalt concrete structure. Its chief purpose is to distribute the load to the base course. The binder course generally consists of aggregates having less asphalt and doesn't require quality as high as the surface course. So replacing part of surface course by the binder course result in more economical design. Next, base course. It is an important layer of the material immediately beneath the surface of the binder course and it provides the additional load distribution and contributes to the subsurface drainage. It may be composed of crushed stone and other untreated stabilized material. Next, sub-base course. After the base course, it is the layer of material beneath the base course, and the primary function are to provide the structural support and improve drainage. It may be WM or it may be WMM. A subgrade course is not always needed or used. For example, a pavement constructed over a high quality. Subgrade, the topsoil is a layer of natural soil prepared to receive the stresses from the layers above. It is essential that no time soil subgrade is overstressed. It should be compacted to the desirable density near the optimum moisture content. Next, types of rigid pavements: jointed PCP, next jointed RCP, reinforced concrete pavement, continuous reinforced concrete pavement, pre-stressed concrete pavement. Jointed plain concrete pavement. Rigid pavement consists of concrete structures constructed with closely spaced contraction joints. Dowel bars or aggregate interlocks are normally used for load transfer across joints. They normally has a joint spacing of 5 to 10 meters. Next, joint reinforced concrete pavement. It do not improve the structural capacity significantly, but they can drastically increase the joint spacing to 10 to 30 meter. Dowel bars are required for the load transfer. Reinforced paint help to keep the slab together even after the cracks. Next, continuous reinforced concrete achievement. Complete elimination of joints are achieved by reinforcement. These are the typical 3 layers of rigid pavement. It is complete concrete structure. This is the rigid pavement. Undoubled transverse type A1. Second one is untitled longitudinal. Next, T by 2 smooth double. Okay, top view 15 feet racially separated with intervals. Longitudinal joint, side view, transverse joint, dowel, transverse joint, top view and side view. Okay, longitudinal joints means vertical. Example, vertical are straight. Transverse means cross. Transverse joint. Distance between transverse joint is 15 feet. Typical diagram shows the longitudinal joints and transverse joint. Granular materials, different granular materials, small thickness are provided. Okay, refer textbook Khanna and Jesto and IRC codes. Next part is design of flexible pavement. These are the typical diagrams of flexible pavement and rigid pavements. Types of pavements. See, rigid pavement is only just 3 layers, but in flexible pavements it contains a lot of layers. Surface dressing, that is nothing but damper. Surface course, base course, concrete slab, sub-base, formation level, natural formation, concrete slab, sub-base layers. Sub-layers means aggregates. Okay, granular structures. Continuous distribution of load is provided here. Load distribution, surface layer, base course, sub-base, selected layers, and subgrade. Load distribution, continuous distribution of load is occurred here. See difference between flexible and rigid. Surface course, base course, sub-base course optional. Okay, where inflexible, in rigid also. Base course, sub-base course is optional. Subgrade existing joint. Flexible and rigid pavements. Joint plain concrete pavement. Top view, typical spacing. Typical top view, distance between transverse joints is 12 to 20 feet. These are the different tie bars, valve, temperature, steel, longitudinal joint, contraction joints are provided. These are the longitudinal joint. These are the contraction joints. Distribution, base subgrade layers, components of flexure pavement. One is top surface course. Second one is base surface course, subgrade. Base course is very important because continuous load occurred here. Base course it transferred to subbase, again it transferred to subgrade. Distribution of load is very important here. Function of significant subgrade properties. Basement soil of road bed, important for structure and pavement life. Should not deflect excessively due to dynamic loading, maybe fill or embankment. Okay, flexible pavement design consists of different design loads, subgrade soils, climatic factors, pavement response. Okay, we'll discuss in next class all the layers.